Having trouble with the camera this morning with my phone. Doesn't want to stay put. Good morning and welcome to the Teacher's Wake Up Call. It is Hump Day Wednesday. And in my case, I don't want to say second to last day before the end of my week, because we have a pedagogical day on Friday. And it's what we normally call here IEP Day, which is the day where we focus on students' individualized education plans. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about student success because, you look at some of these students and you say, oh my God, they have learning difficulties, they have severe learning disabilities. And then you see them in class and you say well, they're succeeding pretty well. So it makes me wonder what brought them to, or what made it so that these kids had to have an IEP. You're trying to imagine the circumstances in which the parents or the teachers or whoever was involved made them realize something's not right, something's not quite going right. And I have an interesting definition or an interesting perspective when it comes to student success. To me, a student who is succeeding is not based on necessarily the criteria that I impose on them, because every student has their own reality. And I'm wondering how much of our criteria, our norms of success, influence what we deem or what we determine as a learning challenge or some kind of other difficulty that is preventing students from attaining success. And I'm not saying that these students don't deserve an individualized education plan. I am not saying that at all. I am saying to what extent our perception of what success is being imposed on these students. And do we have to redefine how we view these challenges as either a hindrance or just maybe as an additional dimension to students' learning? Because there are some students who are succeeding in areas that perhaps we don't qualify as successful. For I don't know how many years, we still say it today, a student who achieves fantastic grades in math, advanced math, in sciences, that student is successful. But a student who is very artistic, gifted musically, or has very talented, is very talented when it comes to interpersonal skills, they're not successful in a school setting. So I was just looking at all the students that I have this year who have IEPs, which is I would like to say maybe double of what I had last year. It made me wonder, because it's been almost a month now that I've seen these kids. They came in on September 1st and I've seen them work. We've interacted, we've talked. Yes, there are some students who are struggling in certain areas for French second language, but they've got strengths elsewhere. One girl writes beautifully. Oh my God, it's fantastic. I love the way she writes. There are mistakes, but I love the way she writes. She's got amazing ideas. She has a very vivid way of telling a story and of explaining. That's okay. But somehow we've convinced her that she wasn't good enough, and now she tricks herself into thinking that she's not good enough. It's like, really? Really? And then we wonder why people have trouble dealing with reality, because we've been drilling into their brains that they're not enough. And I'm sorry, I've got like an eyelash contact lens issue, and I'm not going to stop filming because I've already done 5 minutes. Hey, you know, my struggle of the day. So you have to wonder. You have to wonder what led them to this place. And once again, I'm not saying it's the parents' fault, it's the teacher's fault. I think it's a societal issue, maybe, because we say to ourselves, your child, your student has to be like this. And maybe it's true, it has to, you have to reach a certain level. But sometimes we fail to look maybe at other aspects where they're excelling at. And I think we need to rethink how we view success. It's not the first time I mentioned this on my channel, that we have imposed a definition of success because, and to be very honest, that level of success is perhaps a very archaic way of seeing it. Not gonna lie, when my daughter would get a fantastic grade in math, I would be cheering, mostly because I sucked at math. Grade 10 was perhaps the exception because I had no life and I spent my entire time studying for math, but I always struggled with math. And I'm saying to myself, but I was also happy when she would get fantastic grades in other subjects, even though maybe she would not get a good grade in math. How do we view students' success, and how much does that view influence how we perceive their obstacles, their challenges, their difficulties that would make us want them to have an individualized education plan? Maybe everyone needs to have an IEP. Maybe every student needs to have one where they are in control of the parameters and the context in which they are learning. Because I am certain students who do not have any diagnosed or apparent learning challenges might benefit also of, you know what, I want preferential seating. I would like to sit in the front. I would like to be able to use a computer because my handwriting sucks. I would like to have someone read to me because when I start reading on my own, especially in another language, I get lost. But hearing someone say the words on paper helps me understand. If we had IEPs for ourselves, I think that would be extremely beneficial. And I think everyone would find learning a bit more meaningful because they feel in control. So on that lovely note, folks, have yourselves a lovely, lovely Wednesday.